What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at something that's happening from more of a technical perspective because it's extremely important and it could open up the door of opportunity for this crypto market to really catch some momentum pretty soon here. But of course, if it doesn't happen, then we may see a bit of a pullback, and all of which I will explain in a little while in today's video. So let's not waste any more time at all, and let's catch up on crypto. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade some Bitcoin, Litecoin, ETH, Doge, Pepe, Shiba, KASPA, all up to 100x leverage, you can use the Margex link down in the description below. And guys, the coolest part about it is when you do sign up to start trading, you're going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses, and you don't need to KYC, meaning you don't need to give them any of your personal information. You just sign up, start trading, get up to $10,000 in bonuses, start trading on up to 100x leverage. Again, all with the description and the link in the description down below. Now, let's take a look at what's going on, okay? Today, we're going to be focusing in a little bit more on the technical side, but before we do get into what is happening from more of a technical perspective and why this is the moment of truth and why it is so important, let's just get a feel for where the market's at in general, okay? So, starting off here, let's go over to CoinGlass and let's get a feel for just some of our key indicators that always we like to look at every single day, right? So, what we can see here, crypto market has continued to push up a little bit higher, right? We look at the last week. Let's really zoom this bad boy on in. What we can see is that things have been pushing up more and more and more, right? We push up towards like the 49-50% neutral zone-ish, and now we are starting to see this market get closer and closer to greed. And now we're not technically in greed yet, but we are incredibly close, and it wouldn't shock me at all if we do push up into greed tomorrow. And so, of course, because of that, this is a somewhat greedy market. Now, as a result of that, if we do go over to visual screener and then we go out to the 24 hours, you can see that people are starting to get a little bit more greedy, right? More people are closing their shorts and entering in on long trades more than, of course, as I mentioned before, closing their long trades and entering on short trades. And oftentimes when we see more people closing shorts and entering longs, it just means that the people are expecting this market to continue higher, which isn't technically or necessarily a bad thing. It's just what people think is going to happen. Now, as a result of these moves in which people are making, what we can see here is that our average RSI has now reached the strong zone. And typically speaking, this is a zone that starts to make me a little nervous. Okay, whenever we see cryptos pushing up towards this overbought territory, it's very, very common in which we will start to see pullbacks at some given point soon. You look at the 24-hour, you look at the weekly, both of which are now either at neutral or above. And so, of course, when we have moments like this, it makes me realize that, okay, people are greedy, they're going long, they're closing their shorts, RSIs are getting overextended to the top side. It is probably a good idea to play it a little bit more safe right now because everyone is getting a little bit ahead of themselves, expecting this market to continue to push upwards. And if we do look at our liquidation map, we are starting to really see that on the 7-day, right? 7-day, there are a ton of liquidations that will happen if this market goes to the downside. And on the 30-day, there's even more liquidations that'll happen if this market goes to the downside. And so as a result of all of these things, the summary of this is that people are getting greedy, they're closing down their short trades, they're opening long trades, which is leaving them open for liquidations if this market does pull back at all. As a result of that, our RSIs are getting overrun to the top side, especially on the dailies and on the hourlies. And as a result of that, oftentimes, we can start to see pullbacks happening within this market. And so right now, I am in general just kind of taking a little bit of a step back, not doing too much, not buying, not selling, really just leaving it alone. Now, from a technical perspective, we are also seeing something extremely important happening that I am also starting to step back a little bit. Now, what we can see here, and as you can see from the title, I believe from a technical perspective, which just means from the charts, that we are in a moment of truth. What you can see is that Bitcoin's price has started to make a beautiful rally. Realistically, its first possible uptrend since we were in this freaking downtrend since March of 2024. What we can see here is, of course, that Bitcoin's price came all the way down and set this low around $48.7 thousand before returning back up towards 64K. From there, what happened, which is different, is that as Bitcoin then came back down, it established what people call a higher low. So we had a low, then we've established a higher low. And oftentimes when you're capable of establishing a higher low, it could be the beginning of what people call an uptrend, right? And higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. What you can see is we've been setting lower highs and lower lows, lower high, lower low, as you can see. And that's why we've been in a downtrend. And so at this given point, it does seem as if we could be at the very beginning of trying to break out of this downtrend and flip this downtrend into an uptrend. Now, Tyler, why is this the moment of truth? Well, realistically, the only way for Bitcoin to establish this as a true uptrend, okay, a true uptrend, is for it to set the higher high. And where we are right now is going to determine if from a midterm and long-term perspective, we are capable of establishing that higher high. Currently speaking from a midterm, even a little more of a short-term perspective, we are still trying to break above this most recent macro point of resistance, or this, of course, macro high here, currently sat at $64.8 thousand. And if Bitcoin's price is capable of breaking this little midterm point of resistance, that is going to be the very first macro high or even midterm high that we've established again since we've been in this downtrend. And you can see it in all of these red boxes. Lower high right here, we got equivalent high. Right here, we were unable to set it. We set the lower high. If you go, of course, out further from that one, lower high, lower high. All of these instances in which we've set the high, we've set the lower high. We've not been able to set a macro higher high. And that is what Bitcoin is trying to do right now. It's trying to break back above this key point of resistance and finally set not only just its first macro high, but of course an uptrend, right? Because at that given point, we would have a higher low and a higher high. Now, the issue with it, and the sucky part, is that even if we do see Bitcoin's price break, of course, $64.8 thousand, we still have this massive point of resistance right above us, the one that's created this trend line, the top of this structure that we've been in for months. And so even if Bitcoin's price is capable of breaking 64.8, the moment of truth isn't over, because realistically we still need to get back above this point of resistance before we can actually say that anything has changed. You know, everybody's screaming and shouting and yelling that the bull market's back and we're going to 80K and 90K and all these other things, and realistically the way that I see it is that that is not going to happen until we break out of this structure. Very simple. It's very easy. It's not even remotely complicated. And so I'm not getting all that happy or, confident that we're going to make this beautiful run to the upside quite yet, because we have two key points of resistance that right above us that can easily push us back to the downside. And remember, we have a ton of liquidations that will happen if this market pulls down. And so a little bit of red right here could trigger liquidations that pulls it way back here. And then we have to go for another move, something of that nature, right? And so what I would say, and where I am at this given point, is that we have two major points of resistance sitting right above us. One at 64.8, one around 67.8. Once these two levels are cleared, then I will become much more optimistic that we are back and that this bull market is back and that we will make a beautiful move to the upside. But until that happens, this is still a moment of truth. This is just the test. This is just us finding out if this market is ready to break out or not. And it's not giving us any signs quite yet to show that we have done that. We are getting rejected currently off of this $64.8 thousand level. We haven't even gotten back up to this top line resistance. And so what I'm doing, knowing that there's a ton of liquidations, the market is greedy, people are going long, as I'm just sitting back and watching. I'm not buying, I'm not selling. I'm just going to wait and see. Are we capable of clearing this dead zone, this void of resistance right here, or are we not? If we get a bit of a pullback, sure, I might do some buying on support levels, but that's another story for another day. Where we are right now is that you need to be aware that this market's greedy, it's getting overbought, people are starting to go long, they're getting a little bit too far ahead of themselves, and we have two major points of resistance right above us. And so until we clear these two key levels of resistance, I'm going to be a little bit cautious. I'm going to be sitting back and watching and not doing too much because I don't want to get caught in this trap, okay? And so with that in mind, I will continue to update you, of course, as this does play out. And if you guys do enjoy catching up on what's happening in the world of crypto, you can always come and subscribe to the channel. Check out some of the links down below, as I mentioned before. Got the Patreon down there, got my Twitter down there. Feel free to go check all that out, and I'll catch up with you all next time. Peace out, everybody.